Okay, thank you for coming. Just to introduce myself, my name is Dane Oborn. I'm from a company called Xactware, and I'm happy to be here with you. We're going to be showing one of our tools here today. It's actually going to be a live demo of our tool, XactPRM. Hopefully the internet, however deep underground we are, still works really well because we are going to do it live online, so hopefully we're doing okay. But I wanted to start off by just giving a little bit of background on Xactware, on the company that I'm here representing. We're a technology company. We've been around for 30 years, and for that 30 years, we've been a leader in the estimating industry. We are used very heavily in the insurance market. We're used in the foreclosure market. We're used by real estate agents, contractors, a whole bunch of different people use us to figure out the cost of repairs and maintenance items that you come up with on your properties. And we've actually been recently named one of Forbes' most innovative companies of the year as well. And so we're very proud of what we've been able to come up with. We're happy to be here and share this with you. And we're based out of the United States, but we have customers all over the world. We have an office down in Utah, actually, is our headquarters. We've got an office down in Ottawa as well, and we've got offices over in Europe. And so we've been all around the world. We're happy to be here in Canada with you today. We actually have a lot of Canadian customers from a range of, what I just mentioned, between real estate agents, insurance carriers, and the like. And so what we're going to show you today is a product that can help you with your estimating and really help you with your efficiency and finding out what things are going to cost, and actually help you save money as well. And just to start off, I'd like to ask a question. As property management professionals or anybody who deals with properties, how much time this last year did you spend actually figuring out the cost of items? Either receiving bids from contractors and reviewing those bids, writing the bids yourselves, trying to come up with a cost of whatever it may be, from a broken toilet to a damaged wall or whatever it may be. A lot of time can go into that, especially if you have to go out to different contractors and say, okay, I need 3 bids from these contractors. I'm going to compare them, look at them. Well, this guy's missing some things here, and he's way high and he's way low. Why is that the case? A 2x4 should cost the same no matter who's giving me the estimate. This software greatly simplifies that process. It gives us a way that we can go in and estimate any damages or any maintenance items, from lawn cuts to any of the more extensive repairs like foundation. We can estimate it all for you, and we do it localized where you're at in the country to make sure you're getting accurate pricing for that area. And so I want to jump into XactPRM here. This is our tool. As you can see, it is online, and so you can access it from any web-enabled device. And when we jump in here, we're going to I'm going to do a demo of our suite online, and then I'm going to show you our mobile application as well. And so right when we log in, let's say we need to create an estimate on a home that has some bathroom issues, or it doesn't even have to be a home, but just in general some bathroom issues. What I would do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to create a new project. And this is going to ask me for a little bit of information. It's going to let me know, it's going to let me name my project, give it a file number. This is if I have some identifier that I need to identify it with, either a loan or with any something to match your own internal systems for your properties that you own. You could have it there. And then the rest of it is just basically address information. So I'm going to go ahead and put some information in here so we can get a project up. I'm going to put a Canadian address so we get some Canadian pricing here. I'm going to go down to Ottawa, it looks like. And please, if you have questions, raise your hand during the demo. I'd like to answer the questions right when we're on that screen so we can make sure we're all still on the same page. So once I enter this information in, it's going to create a brand new project for me. And you'll notice I have a few tabs here down the left-hand side of our screen. And we're literally going to start at the top and just work our way down. And for the demo purposes, we're going to take a little bit longer than we normally would because I'm going to explain things. But the first 3 tabs generally go really, really quick, and then we'll get into actually estimating. So when I first start my project, I've got a little bit of information. I've got the address I entered in here, I've got my file number that I entered, and then if I want to, if there's a living space area, I can go ahead and put that in there for, again, mostly for informational purposes. The rest of this page is also set up for kind of administrative purposes. And so I can come in here and I can create a list of types of estimates. And so I could say this is a bathroom remodel, or this is a bathroom repair, this is a grass cut, this is a maintenance issue, this is extermination. Whatever it may be, I can create my list of estimate types, and that way I can group my estimates later on, and I can say, well, how much did I spend on emergency repairs versus general construction or general maintenance issues? And so I'll go ahead and just select, let's just do emergency repairs because I said that. The header and opening and closing statement, I'm going to show you at the end how we can actually produce a very professional looking report that we can give to anybody, our client, whoever it may be. If I'm actually writing the bid, I could give it to them and say, here's my proposal for a bid that I'm writing for you to do the work. Or if I have a client that I'm managing this property for, I can create this bid and say, here's what the repairs are going to cost, here's all of the individual line items. And as such, we want to make sure that that report looks professional. So I can put my own company header on it, I can put an opening and closing statement on it, letting them know this report is correct insofar as a bunch of legal information or whatever I want. Thank you for reviewing our bid. Estimator, this is more for the office to let you know who's the one actually writing this information. And a contact is there in case we need to contact somebody at the property. I'm going to jump into our pricing section. This is where it gets really interesting. So our pricing is localized, I mentioned earlier, meaning we research pricing here different or separate from researching pricing in Montreal or Calgary or any of those places. And the reason is because items seem to cost different depending on where you're at in the country. A 2x4 here may be slightly more, maybe slightly less than Saskatchewan. And so we have a team of people at our office. It's about 60 or 70 people that all they do day in and day out is research our pricing. And we'll literally call contractors, call suppliers and get their pricing, and we'll take those two and we'll kind of build a price right there. Then we'll actually see what people are getting paid in the industry. So we'll actually have jobs that are going through our system, about 16 to 20,000 jobs a day actually go through our system, and we can see what plumbers in Toronto are getting paid versus plumbers in the United States are getting paid. And so we take all of this information, all of this research that we do, we compile it all together, and we give you a price. And we break that out in your by zip code or by postal code here in Canada. And so right now, because of what I put in here, we've got an Ontario price list in here. Had I put in a Toronto postal code, we'd be seeing a Toronto postal code. And we've broken Canada into about 40 or so different pricing regions. And so depending on where you're at in Canada, you're going to get one of the 40 pricing regions that we're in. And that becomes very powerful. The next thing that we do is we give you the opportunity to add tax to that if you want. We don't require it, but if you are in the industry and you need to add tax to it, we can add an Ontario tax jurisdiction right there. As well as we've had a couple questions today actually about, do you guys do new construction versus repair and maintenance, and do you price that differently? And the answer is yes, we do. We have the ability to come in here and do repair or maintenance work, which is going to be generally a little bit more because you've got to tear down existing, watch out for the couch that's sitting over here in the corner, versus new construction where it's bare bones, and it's generally a little quicker to do that. And so we do research that pricing separately so that you can get accurate, depending on what you're doing, you can have those prices. The next question we get the most, at least we've had today here at the conference, is, can I apply my points to it, or markup percentage? Can I do anything there? And the answer is absolutely yes. We have this ability in this adjustment section where we can come in here and say, well, I want to add 10% onto whatever this bid is so that I can either take some off the top, depending on who you are, or if you just want to see what the estimate is with a markup or anything like that. And we can do that one of two ways. We can build it into our line item cost. So if you have a line item that costs $100, we can build that 20% into that $100. Or we can do it at the end, just kind of like a tax. You say, here's your subtotal, here's my markup percentage, here's my grand total. So any way you want to do it, we can do it and get that markup. The next section I'm gonna go over is just our images section. This is, depending on our user base, we have a lot of people some people will take literally hundreds of pictures for their properties, and they want to store them in their estimate. Others take a few based on, in my earlier example, a toilet damage. They'll go into the bathroom, take 3 or 4 images, and they want to store it with the estimate. This would be a place where we could come in here and we could add some images. And I'm actually not on my computer. This is someone at the conferences, so I'm not going to browse it. I was going to put a few images here, but I don't want to browse through someone else's images. I'll take one with my phone. How about that? We'll do that. Now this is where we get into kind of the meat and what we're going to be focusing on. This is actually creating estimates within PRM. And so right when I hit the estimate tab, it's asking me to create a group. What a group is it's any group of line items I want to group together. So in our example that we're using right now, it could be bathroom, it could be kitchen, it could be interior, it could be exterior, it could be anything that you want that logically groups your line items together. And so I'm going to do bathroom. The next section is type, and type becomes important because the way I'm going to show you how to find line items in our tool, one of the ways is determined by this type. Right here, behind this screen, you're going to see an image appear. And that image is determined by what I select in this type field. And so that'll make more sense here in a minute. I'll select bathroom, and then we give you the option to dimension that room as well, either with generic dimensions, as you can see here, or I can really get into custom and crazy shaped rooms and dimension it any way that I would like. And so I can dimension it, and why I would want to do that is if I do dimension it, it's automatic. Where did it go? It's automatically going to figure out what the quantities are. There we go. Okay, so now I'm in my bathroom. Here's that cutaway image that I'm seeing. And there's actually 3 different ways that we can search for and add line items. The first way is the easiest, and it's the way I still do it, and I've been doing this for 10 years. And it's very simple. It's this image. Anything I click on this image, you'll notice that this bottom section right here is changing as I click on things. And this bottom section is essentially my search results. So it's like if I was on Amazon and searching for something in all the list. That's what I'm doing here simply by clicking around an image. So in my example earlier, if I needed a toilet, I'd click on toilet, and if you can see that, I've got a whole bunch of toilet items right here that I can select from. So if I find my toilet I'm interested in, I can hit the plus button. It's going to shoot that down into my added items section, and just like that, I've removed and replaced a toilet, and that's going to cost me with materials and labor about $295. And so and how we're getting that is if I actually look, every one of our line items will tell you what is included and what is not included. So here's actually my breakdown of material and labor. Here's a definition of everything that's included in that. And we do this to make sure that you know exactly what we're doing. So in this case, it excludes a toilet seat. If your toilet, for whatever reason you bought, didn't have a toilet seat, we're not including in that cost an additional toilet seat. You'd have to buy one, but I don't know of a place where you can buy a toilet that doesn't have a toilet seat. That's why the toilet seat's excluded, because we do have a separate, if someone were to just slam the toilet seat down and break that and you just wanted to replace that, we do have that item right here that is just a toilet seat. And if you're ever wondering, well, what is this item? A toilet's not a great example because we all know what a toilet looks like. One that I've seen a lot is people who work in the office and who are reviewing estimates, and that's what this tool is used for a lot. People submit them bids, and they use this as a price verification tool. And they say, well, what is a P-trap? I don't even know what a P-trap is. Some person in the office just reviewing, they can come in here and say, oh, it's that little curly pipe under the sink. Okay, I get that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we give you the sample images. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it's not. Hopefully we all know what a toilet looks like, but we give you that information so that you can see that. The second way we can add line items here is, if you'll notice, I don't really have carpet on this image because it's not typical to have carpet in a bathroom, but if I go to my grandma's house, she still does have carpet in her bathroom for some reason. If I search in the search bar for carpet, that works exactly like any search bar you've ever seen. It's going to search our entire database of pricing. It's going to find those line items, and I can add them to my estimate. And just to give you an idea of the scale of our estimate, or of our line items, we actually have, it's over 10,000 line items in our database that we research that we research for our price lists. And of those 10,000 items, it can at times seem difficult to find those items, but this search bar really helps you figure out and narrow down, and this image especially, narrow down exactly what you're looking for, and you can search through 10,000 items very, very simply. And essentially build a house from the ground up. It really is that extensive. We can do everything that is in a house. There's one section I've missed over here. Here you kind of saw me add individual items. I'll add my carpet and carpet pad for my grandma so that she can replace her carpet in her bathroom. Over here on the left we've got something that we call a quick estimate. And what a quick estimate is it's a way that we can group line items together into a package. And where I really see this useful is our roofing items. If someone's got a hole in their roof or something, and you know you're going to need shingles, you know you're going to need felt, and in some cases you're going to need snow and ice. You're going to need a lot of different, potentially drip edge, a lot of different items that you just know you're going to need every time you do that roof. And so we give you the ability to come in here and you can combine those into what we call a quick estimate. And so when I come in here and I click on one, instead of adding one item at a time, it adds the entire group that I've determined at a time. And so a couple ways you can use that is, number one, the first way I mentioned, the roofing incident. Others use it, as an inspection tool. They say, well, every time I go and look at a property, I know I need to check these items. And if they're missing or damaged, I want an estimate of those. And so they could use that and add it and then just kind of come down here and say, okay, is the toilet okay? Is the carpet okay? Is the carpet pad okay? And if they are okay, I can simply remove them. But if they're not, I leave them in there. And now I've done an inspection and generated an estimate at the exact same time. So it becomes a very powerful tool that way as well. A few other things on here. I'm going to add, just to kind of give you an exterior image here, just so you can kind of see what we can do. Once I go outside, you'll notice over here I still have my bathroom, I still have my exterior. I've got my total for my bathroom right here. And if I needed to, I wanted to add some mulch or mow the lawn or something like that, I can come in here and search down. I'll do some mulching per square foot, and I'll go ahead and change that to, we'll just do 500 square feet of mulching. So I can come down here and I can add line items to the exterior as well. And what I wanted to show you is, the more groups I add, they'll show up on this right-hand side, and I'll get a subtotal. So I can continually see the estimate that I'm either reviewing and validating, or that I'm creating, so that I can make sure that that's in line with what I'm expecting that cost to come out to be. Once I'm done with my estimate, I'm going to show you the report I was talking about. We have a lot of different reports. I'm going to show you a couple of them. So this is going to give me a rendering of what my report will actually look like. So if I come down, here's my bathroom line items, here's my mulching line items. They're all broken out separately. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can, a little bit better. I've got my total of my estimate. Had I added a markup percentage to it or anything there, I could see that as well. But basically, what we're showing you here is we can give you a very nice looking report. The other report I want to show you, and this is what gets cool. If you look at the number of line items on this page, it's going to be different on the following report, simply because we're going to get a lot more detailed on this next report. And this essentially becomes your bill of materials, is what it is. So this next report we call our component summary report. So here's all of the different material that you are going to be needing in order to accomplish the job that I put on there earlier. And so we had one line item for carpet, for instance. But if you look, I've got here's my actual carpet, and then I've got tack strip, then I've got seaming tape, I've got pad, I've got a lot of different items that go into carpet that you're going to need. But we don't want to have you estimate that. If you had to replace drywall in an office or in a home, we don't want you to have to go in and say, well, I think I'm going to need about 100 screws to do that. No, we just want you to say, I need 300 square feet of drywall, and we'll figure out the rest for you and say, well, you're actually going to need about 1.5 boxes of screws to do that, so we'll estimate 2 boxes for you. That's going to cost you an extra, however many dollars, but it's all built into that cost. So when you look at your drywall cost from the estimating screen, all of that is built in, and you just get a lot more detail here so that you can see exactly what's going into your estimates. And the same is true for labor and equipment. We'll break that down for you and say, you're removing all of this stuff. You're going to need a demo guy. You're going to need a plumber to come in and do the toilet. And equipment. Here's some equipment that you are going to need, and these are the rates for the equipment. So it gets very powerful. And once you're there, let me zoom back out here. You're ready to print that report. You can give it to somebody. You're able to come in here and mark it complete. And you're able to validate that job at that time. Now what I'm going to show you next is actually our field tool. It's if I was the one in the field capturing this estimate. But before I move there, I want to make sure there aren't any questions on the estimating piece online as it sits right now. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in here. Well, let's do it this way. I'm going to jump in and show you. We've got a few minutes left here. Hopefully that shows up. Alright, so this is my phone. I'm going to jump into the same estimate we were just in, but I'm going to show you how it looks on our mobile application instead. So if you'll notice up here, I've got my bathroom and I've got my exterior. Those are my two groups that I've created. I can swipe between the two and add line items at that point. If I need another group, I just swipe over it. It automatically creates a group for me. But where this gets cool is when we went into the mobile space, we knew we had a hard competition, a hard competitor. And that competitor was a yellow pad of paper and a pen. Every contractor we went out in the field with had a yellow pad of paper, and they would say, okay, there's X amount of damage on the floor, here's the toilet that's broken. They'd write it down, they'd go back to their home or their office, put it in some nice looking format and send it to whoever they were sending it to. So, what's easier than writing it down on a piece of paper? That's what we were competing with, and it's not always easy to sit here and type on these little screens with your thumbs. So what we came up with, well, it's probably easiest just to talk to your phone and tell it what's wrong with it. And before I demonstrate it, it's more than simple voice to text. I need to be clear about that. Voice to text is awesome, it's great, it was a good starting point for us. This is actually understanding what you're saying. It's going to look for the line item you're interested in. It's going to look for the quantity of the line item you're interested in. And it's going to look for, well, what are you doing to it? Are you ripping it up? Are you leaving it there? What are you doing to that line item? So I can simply come in here and I can hit this plus button, remove and replace 100 square feet of carpet. So it now has my carpet line item in there. I keep walking around and I say, oh, I noticed there's a hole in the drywall. Replace one drywall. Oops, I pushed it again. Replace one drywall patch. So now I've got a drywall patch. I go into the next bathroom and notice that I need a new toilet there too. Remove one toilet. So as you can see, as fast as I can talk to this phone, it's giving me line items. It's letting me add all of these things. It's generating my bid right there. And one thing to notice too is since I'm creating this here and I'm using the price list area that I'm in, it's going to give me the local pricing for wherever I'm standing as well. This particular one, since I started in Ontario, is still using Ontario, but if I were to create a new one, it would use local, Ottawa. I would use local Toronto pricing. And we've seen this used. The funny thing is we actually have some investment companies, and we also have just a company that just validates using our tool. And so they receive bids in from the field and they validate with us. And so they're in the office all day long. I've literally seen people sitting in front of their computers like this, talking to their phone and then looking at their computer and making sure it shows up right, and then talking to their phone and then looking at their computer, rather than re-enter it in on their keys, because it is that simple to use. It really is quick and easy. And so we've had a lot of people go through and do that. The point is this really is designed for the tool, and it does sync seamlessly. If I jump back into the online tool, maybe if it'll, there it goes. If I jump back into my online tool and I refresh my screen here, you're going to see I can come in here and I can see all the different line items that I just added on my phone. It syncs in real time. It's kind of like every web application you would expect. If you do it on the phone, do it on the computer, it doesn't matter. It's going to sync in real time and it's going to let you know. And it's going to allow you to be very, very quick in the field and be efficient.